Hey guys, how's it going? We're back with the Liberty Hour here, part three, with my guest Al. We were just talking about the House today passing the amendment to expand warrantless surveillance with the FISA Act. And I was just talking about we were getting to the Trump-Russia narrative, and I was saying how I believe it harms the progressive movement instead of helping it when they talk about this. So what I mean by that is when they talk about this story and cover it all day in mainstream media, when they find even the slightest thing that might look like it's a piece of evidence that could go towards it, there's a lot of things the president does every day. I mean, and there's a lot of things I'm sure that progressives would disagree with that he does. And there are some progressives that cover it, but not in mainstream media. And that's my thing, is every time they cover something about the Trump-Russia story that turns out that it doesn't lead to anything, they could have covered something that day or multiple stories of what Trump's actually doing. And that goes hidden and slides right under what they should be talking about. And that's my problem.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like it's almost like they really could hurt his reputation, if they report the real, things. But it's like, oh, he eats his ice cream with, or he eats too much ice cream every day, and he drinks 11 Cokes a day. It's like what? It's like what? Remember that ice cream story that they did, or what was it again? It's like he got an extra scoop.
He got an extra scoop. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Could you like?
To be fair, they did the same thing with Obama or another politician when they ate pizza with a fork or something like that, or Obama put some condiment on his burger that was different. I don't know, but I mean, they do that with politicians all the time. They have nonsense stories all the time. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you on your point. It's just ridiculous in general.
Could you imagine the average just middle class American just, really wanting change and stuff, but then he hears this story about he gets 2 extra scoops of ice cream. It's like, that's ridiculous. It's exactly. Like he wants, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for the middle class, but it's like why don't you talk about, just the disasters he's, doing with the economy. I mean, I don't think he's doing that bad, but I think he should definitely cut spending and stuff. I mean, you can't pass tax cuts without, common sense, budget cutting and stuff like that. I mean, he's just, kind of ruining the economy, at least for the blue states and stuff. But, and it's ridiculous. I mean, they really could hurt his reputation if they reported real news. I mean, the guy is a mental case.
Exactly. No, I mean, yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, we're going to get here a little later in this show to reviewing Trump's first year of presidency. But before we get to that, I do want to cover or follow up on a story that I covered last week. I'm doing a little research right now trying to figure out how much this person raised. But basically what I wanted to follow up on was the story last week that I was talking with Ricky on, which had to do with the whole Logan Paul situation. Last week he uploaded a video that basically showcased a dead body in the suicide forest in Japan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Ogijahara. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, not slaughtering it. And I don't mean to use those types of words when I say that too. But basically he uploaded a video. He took it down. YouTube didn't take it down. And YouTube's been under fire recently because of the algorithm they have in terms of demonetizing YouTubers who simply just make content. That's something we could just talk about a while too, which we probably will in this show. But basically, they put Logan's Paul video on trending instead of taking it down. Everybody got so pissed off. The follow-up I wanted to make on that is YouTube has punished Logan Paul now. They actually have done something with it. But I'm trying to find, because this has to do with my good news story of the week. There's a YouTuber by the name of Jacksepticeye. I saw this on Philip DeFranco earlier this week. He actually raised money on a live stream, I think a 6-figure amount, for the National Suicide Prevention. And that's just phenomenal. I mean, that's perfect. That's a great way to do it with a platform you have through YouTube. That's what I wish I'd seen more of instead of the dumb crap to get views you always see on there. But I just want to get your thought on that, Al. So what's your thought, obviously, obviously it's a good thing what Jacksepticeye did. What is your whole thought on the whole YouTube crap that's been going on for a while now, and the whole Logan Paul thing that happened last week? Just what is your thought on the whole demonetization and the Logan Paul issue in general?
I think it's pretty crappy that I don't know that much about the whole demonetization thing or the apocalypse or whatever. I haven't really been paying attention to it too much, but I think it's, if they have YouTubers that are, making videos and or having people click on their website and stuff, they should be able to get paid. They need to make a living, and if they expect the creators to make more videos and produce and stuff, they got to get the money. I mean, it's ridiculous that you don't want to pay basically your employees essentially the money that they need to make videos and stuff. I mean, how long do you want YouTube to continue for if people aren't going to get paid? I guess through Patreon or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. That's just my stance on it. And for the Logan Paul thing, I think what he did was ridiculous and immature. And it's just I've never really been a fan of the Paul brothers. I think their videos are kind of stupid. Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're into, I mean, if that's what anyone else is into, good for them, more power to them. But, it didn't really surprise me that he did something like that. I mean, with the level of maturity from what I've seen from Logan Paul, I mean, it just doesn't surprise me. But I was extremely disappointed that, YouTube would let that stay up. But, other videos that are just, they take down videos for slight copyright or anti, they will say something against, women or, that they find sexist or even racist or something like that. They'll take that down right away. Right. Yeah. But they won't take down a video of someone literally recording a hanging body, from a suicide force. It's like, what are you doing with your site?
What I just don't get is Logan's brothers, Jake, and his mom and dad also have YouTube channels. None of them called him out on that. They're all definitive. I understand they're all in the same family, but
right.
You gotta understand if something's wrong. You tell me all of those people don't think what Logan Paul did was at least somewhat wrong? I understand that, if you want to have the argument and say Logan's Paul video shouldn't be taken down from YouTube because they shouldn't be involved in YouTube creators' content, okay, we can have that conversation. I think we should have that conversation.
Yes.
But to say what Logan Paul did is not bad because there's other dead bodies on the internet. First off, I know a lot of young people are saying that 13 and 14-year-olds, so they don't know much better. But I'm sorry, you gotta have some sense of humanity in yourself. It makes me want to face palm to the ground whenever I see that. There's so much cancerous comments that were on his video when it was still up there, and now on videos that criticize what Logan Paul did. It's just oh, you're killing me here, man.
The dude, I mean, he wore a freaking Toy Story alien hat beanie thing, and he straight up disrespected the lifeless flesh. It's just it's not like he just recorded a dead body and was and then he moved on. No, he literally walked up with his friend or his clan or whatever they are, his squad, and was just straight up oh, you never seen a dead body before? It's how do you react that?
I don't get
that's
it.
Ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. It really.
Yeah, is. I just couldn't even bear it. I'm just how could you? It's just ridiculous.
So what YouTube is what they've done, they officially dropped Logan Paul as a preferred ad partner and began removing him from projects from YouTube Red. He had a couple of movies called The Thinning and Thinning 2. Movies I actually wanted to watch. It looked pretty interesting. I thought they were actually coming out in theaters when I originally saw them, but then I realized they're on YouTube Red. It looked interesting, but they've dropped him from that. He also had another YouTube Red series called Foursome. They dropped him from that. So they've done some things. They also wrote a comment. YouTube wrote this on Twitter. Suicide is not a joke, nor should it ever be a driving force for views. As Anna Akana put it perfectly, that body was a person someone loved. You do not walk into a suicide force with a camera and claim mental health awareness. Yeah, that's 100% right. I mean, just first off, On another note, in this country, we really get the issue of mental health awareness wrong. I mean, there's so many people bullied because of their mental health, and we don't treat it the right way. I'm all pro gun. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we should really have any regulations at all. But if there's one regulation I would agree with, it would be, which I know we have to some extent, is background checks for people with mental illness. We should also put, if we're going to put money towards anything, put it towards mental health awareness. Like, it is such a problem in this country, not as much as certain other countries, but it's still, compared to the rest of the world, we have a big problem here with that. And we just treat the issue so terrible in this country, in my opinion.
I agree, and it's like, and I feel like part of that, this might sound a little racist, but the melting pot of cultures that kind of come here, and it's kind of, I feel like that could play into the whole like mental illness thing. I don't know. I just feel like there's just such a large population within the U.S. I mean, you're going to have a lot of crazies and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's that. There's also the issue of, there's many reasons that people get mental illness. Some people, in some cases, are just born with it, or they're born a certain way. Some people experience it over time because of certain things have happened to their family or friends. And then, there's multiple scenarios of how people can get mental illness, but it's a problem, and it just sucks to see a YouTuber exploit that for money and views. I know he says he didn't monetize the video. I don't know how much I believe him in that, but this will be the last time I'll talk about it because it's just disgusting to talk about. But I'm just glad that YouTube's finally done something on the issue. So we're going to go ahead and get into the next thing here, which involves something also that happened today that does relate with Donald Trump. So now I didn't hear the audio when he said this. I know he said this according to multiple people, but haven't heard the audio yet. He said, "Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?" When he talked about immigration from South American countries and stuff like that. If he did say that, that's awful for a president to say, but I haven't heard any audio on that. Have you, Al?
No, I was about to ask you the same thing. I really, I believe that he would probably say something like that.
Yeah,
but
me too.
the fact that we don't have any audio, I can't, respectively criticize him because I've never heard it. And there's been so many fake quotes, for Donald Trump by fake news and stuff. I just don't know what's real or not. But when they get the audio out, I'll criticize him.
Well, when I originally, saw it on CNN earlier, I thought that it was maybe a tweet he put out, which is why I've checked his Twitter all day. But I haven't seen anything in there from him that has talked about that. I've only seen multiple articles and stuff covered from mainstream news that has talked about it. But I'm scrolling down on his Twitter right now, and I don't see anything. Nothing at all. And
it also could just be an attack, by the opposition or the resistance, as they call them. Yeah. This could just be a total, hoax. But we don't know.
We don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on it. But I wouldn't put it past Trump.
Right.
He's
definitely.
Said
he's crazy.
Things for sure. But there needs to be physical audio out there. And that gets to a whole nother point in relation to how mainstream media covers things that I'm going to want to talk about with you. And I'm also going to put it as a part of my final segment at the end of the show. We're getting towards the end of these 15 minutes here. The next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to review Donald Trump's first year of his presidency. I have a whole article up here from Time on it. So we're going to go through some of his biggest legislative victories he's had, if you will, and some other things that have happened outside of his legislations. So we're going to go take a little break here, and we will be right back for you guys.